Damon Martin MMA fighting here with the queen of Bare-Knuckle herself. She makes her return to BKFC on May 13th for a rematch against Britain Hart. I am always happy to speak to Bec Rawlings. And Bec, I gave you the intro, but before I let you talk here now, is it Bec Rawlings or do I want to call you Bec Rodriguez? Because of course you got married, so congratulations. But what name are you using professionally now?
Thank you. I am Rodriguez now. So I know they use Rawlings on the poster, but I think that's because it's our second fight. So people would have just got confused, like, what? They haven't fought before. So, but yeah, I'm officially going as Rodriguez now. So,
well,
yeah.
Congratulations on your wedding, of course. I think I follow you on Instagram, so I saw you got married. So congratulations on that. How is married life treating you now?
No different. Doesn't feel any different. Same shit.
It's fun. It's so funny because you got married and so did Britain. So now she's going by Britain Hart Beltran and you're going to be Bec Rodriguez. So people are going to be really confused for this rematch. It's Rodriguez against Beltran. Like everyone's going like, who? What? How's this a rematch?
Yeah. Same faces, different names. So it is what it is. People will catch up eventually.
Yeah. So, Bec, we knew, I remember doing the story on you signing with BKFC again, coming back there. And I know, we've been dealing with so much craziness with the pandemic and all the travel restrictions and everything. Can you kind of give me a sense? Let me just backtrack. Like, what led to you going back to BKFC? Because I know we spoke, I want to say about a year and a half ago in the middle of the pandemic. You were dealing with basically not being able to fight because you really couldn't get out of the country, all those kind of issues. And we know that's been kind of plaguing a lot of people from your side of the world.
Yeah.
But what led you back to BKFC?
Look, I always wanted to go back to BKFC. The only reason I left was my contract expired and I was kind of sitting in limbo waiting for a new contract. And I have 2 mouths to feed, so I can't sit around, wondering, when my next fight's going to be, when I'm going to my next paycheck will be. So, Bellator, we were in contact with them and they just came through quicker, to be honest. They're more reliable. I could rely on them back then. So I just had to go with the sure thing. And right then and there, Bellator was right there with the contract, and guaranteed me fights. So, and I always wanted to go back into MMA anyway. So it was I just was dabbling in here and there in bare-knuckle and MMA. And so once my contract expired with Bellator, I've always been in contact with bare-knuckle. I've always had intentions of coming back. So it kind of just worked out. And my manager was obviously in contact with bare-knuckle. So, yeah, I ended up signing back with them. So I'm kind of been all over the place these last few years.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, again, we talked after the Bellator thing happened, and I didn't really get too deep into that when I spoke to you last time, but let me ask, was there any, I won't say, I guess at this point you've moved on, but was there any ill will or anything towards Bellator? Because I know you got 2 fights there, you had a big win in your last fight, and then it was just kind of out of nowhere that you were out of the organization. Like, it was just such a weird situation, in my mind anyways.
Yeah, no hard feelings. I love Bellator. They were great to me. They treated me with respect and they were awesome to deal with. It's just with all the COVID and everything, I was stuck here for almost a year and a half not being able to leave the country. And in that time, my contract expired with Bellator and I kind of got lost, I guess, in the background with everything that was going on. And yeah, so they didn't even realize it had been expired and someone released a media thing saying I'd been cut. And Mike Kogan was like, what the fuck's this? I've never heard about that. So, and he's like, he felt terrible that I found out, on social media that I'd apparently been cut. And it's like, that's not what happened. It's just my contract expired due to just not getting 3 fights in that certain amount of time. And that was really out of my control and out of their control as well. So no hard feelings. I'd go back to Bellator in a heartbeat. I'm just happy kind of focusing on boxing right now. I really love boxing. I really love bare-knuckle boxing and I feel like I belong in this sport. MMA has been great to me, but I found my happy place here.
Yeah, it's funny because you were the original, bare-knuckle. You were the original fighter that went over. You are the queen of bare-knuckle, but you came in very early when, it was still starting out. I mean, they had 2 states you could fight in. There was just so much not there. And now, 3 years later, I mean, it's insane. Obviously Triller has bought the majority share. They're going to New York. They're going all over the place. I know from covering BKFC, the traffic and the attention they get is insane now. It gets really big shows. In a weird way, do you feel like you're coming back at a better time because now it's established. Like you were kind of the beginner, and now like you started it, but now like they're actually like it's a much bigger deal now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool to see the promotion grow, and I think it's going to be. I hope it's going to be a little bit more organised and and things like that. It's definitely cool to see. I know there's been some like slight comments from Britain saying, you know, like I left and I've come back with all after they've done all the hard work, and it's like it's been getting under my skin because I'm like, bitch, I'm the reason you're signed. I'm the reason the girls are, you know, have the biggest division right now. I took the gamble and had the first fight. No one knew what we're walking in on. Like when I first signed with Bare-Knuckle, I had no idea what was going to happen with the promotion. So I think she needs to remember that I was the first and I was the one that took the gamble. So respect where it's due, I think. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the changes in the promotion. Now it's gotten bigger and, you know, there's bigger names and more hype. I'm definitely excited.
It's funny you say that. I talked to Dave Feldman about a week or so ago, and I was talking about like, you know, the big stars, and I said it kind of started with you. Like you were the first name and you kind of established like where now the women's division, you could argue, is the biggest division in Bare-Knuckle, like in BKFC, when you think about, like, obviously when you started, and then, of course, the attention when Paige came over. Britain has got her own star power. Of course, then we saw the title fight recently. Rachel Ostovich came over. Pearl Gonzalez came over. Like, it feels like you kind of started that, and now, like, again, it could be argued that the women's division is the biggest, the most well-known in the entire organization.
It's been awesome to see it grow, and I'm happy like I could be a part of that history. Definitely cool to see, and it's only going to get bigger from here. And it's really cool to see the girls division really take off. You know, that's the main attraction. Everyone's hyped and pumped for our division, and that's really fucking cool to see in combat sports because sometimes the girls get forgotten about, especially in boxing. So things are changing, and it's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's funny because I know your husband is a professional boxer, and you're right. Like, it kind of, because I've talked to Clarissa Shields before, it kind of bums me out that women's boxing doesn't get more attention than it does, but it's crazy how much we as combat sports fans have embraced. Like, of course, we know with mixed martial arts, women's MMA is huge. I mean, it's just a massive part of the sport now. Yeah. And Bare-Knuckle, again, I would argue, the biggest stars in BKFC are the women. Like, it's kind of crazy, like, how women have kind of taken over that way. I wish boxing would finally freaking come around on it.
I know. Yeah, like, well, obviously there's a big fight this weekend with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, and that's massive. Like, that's a really big feat for girls to, you know, be the headliner and get all that pump, you know, that hype behind them. And they're getting paid well, finally. Girls are getting paid well in boxing. So it's pretty cool to see. But, yeah, let's hopefully there's more of it in boxing. But, MMA, the girls have always been kind of the highlight of the promotion too. Equal pay, MMA, like it's equal for men and women. So it's cool to see similar in Bare-Knuckle as well.
Yeah. Now I know, and I'm not going to sit here and, you know, ask you to show me receipts or anything, but I know from talking to a lot of the people that have gone to BKFC over the last couple of years, you know, Chad Mendez, I'm sure you saw it. He said, I'm making more for my fight in BKFC than I made when I fought Connor.
Yeah.
You know, and other guys and girls have said, like, I'm making like good money going to BKFC. Now, again, I'm not going to ask you to show me receipts, but when you came back, did they take care of you? Did they treat you like the queen of Bare-Knuckle that you are to get you back under contract? Because again, you were the first champion, you were the first star. Like, did they say, "Hey, we're going to roll out the red carpet. Here's a big bag for you, Bec"?
Look, I'm getting looked after. I'm getting more than I ever did in MMA, but there's always room for improvement. I feel like I have to come back and remind everyone who the fuck I am. I think they've forgotten. I'm the Bare-Knuckle queen, and there's a few people that need reminding. But yeah, look, I'm not silly. I know I have to come back into the division, rack up some wins, get some more respect, I think, in the division, and then the paycheck will follow. But I'm not complaining. I'm getting paid more than I ever have in MMA, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the other girls' paychecks, I think.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is like I said, I mean, now we've seen the BKFC is growing. The opportunity is there. You know what I mean? Like, we are seeing people get paid, and they are doing good shows, and they're getting money. Like, again, you would hope that would just continue to grow with each and every fight, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, you've got to climb the ladder, I guess, and you got to solidify your name in each division. And but I feel like I am the original gangster in this sport. So I think the money will follow very soon. I want to get this first fight underway. I'm chomping at the bit. It's been 2 years since I fought, and it's been out of my control. It's been really frustrating, to be honest. I've been in and out of fight camp for about a year now, so I'm ready to punch a bitch in the face. I'm going crazy here, stuck in Australia.
Oh, I know. We're excited to see you back. With that being said, again, when I talked to Dave last week, we were talking about your fight. I was excited. It's a big main event, as it should be. And I said, the thought process of booking you against Britain again, because, I don't think anyone would have complained if they said day one, you come back and you fight Christine, who is the new champion. Yeah. Like, I would have been completely okay with that. Part of me, again, and we'll talk about it later, we talked about, maybe getting that rematch with Paige. Again, she's 0-2, so probably didn't make sense based on your resume, but again, would still be a big fight. Were you happy with Britain? Were you okay with that matchup in terms of your first fight back, or would you rather have had a Paige? Or I'm singling her out because I know you said you would take that rematch, but or were you okay with Britain?
Look, I'll take anyone at this point. I just need a fight. No, I didn't care. The first name they sent me, I'm like, lock it in. Just give me a fucking date. I'm done. I'm done sitting here. So, look, I'll fight any of them. I don't care. I can see the strategy behind them booking me versus Britain. Obviously it's the second fight. To build hype also, obviously I'm backing myself to win that fight, and I feel like, once I beat Britain, it's just going to set up bigger fights along the way for the championship or for against Paige VanZant. Look, I'll take any of them. I'm just ready to fight. I'm just ready to get in there.
What is your biggest memory from that first fight with Britain? Like, in terms of what you took away from that, or what you can use going into the rematch without giving away secrets, of course.
She was very awkward. I feel like when you fight someone awkward, it kind of puts you off your flow a little bit. So I've definitely been working on a different kind of game plan against her, because feints and certain movements she doesn't react to because she's a little bit unorthodox. So so this time I'll be more ready for her kind of unorthodox style, and that's probably the main take I took from the fight. Look, I don't feel threatened by her at all. She didn't really do anything amazing against me. It was just I struggled a little bit with her awkwardness, and I think I've got her ticket this time. But she looked like she improved a little bit against Christine Ferreira in the first few rounds until she started getting tagged up and a little bit flustered, and she just went back to old Britain. And I don't see it going any different against me. She'd probably come out with some straight punches in the first round until I start tagging her, and she'll just go back to her usual kind of close your eyes and throw self. So, but just to deal with her awkwardness, and don't expect, a straight down the line kind of fighter every time. You're going to get different looks with every different fight, and just don't let it kind of make you awkward and get you off your groove.
Yeah. Now, you've always had incredibly strong boxing, Bec. We've known that about you from MMA and obviously what you did in Bare-Knuckle. Some people will say 2 years away, man, that's a long layoff, ring rust, those kind of things. I look at it on the flip side, because I know you never stopped training during that time. And I joke, it's funny, I did an interview during the pandemic with Corey Sandhagen, and that's when gyms were shut down and everything. And Corey's like, I've got it to the point where I've had my girlfriend holding pads for me just so I can have something to do. But you actually, but I mean, seriously, you are married to a professional freaking boxer. So can I imagine the Bec Rodriguez we're about to see on May 13th is going to be a better Bec Rodriguez than what we've seen before?
Yeah, look, I don't believe in ring rust. I think that's for the weak to blame it on that. I honestly don't believe in it. It's your mindset going into a fight. But I've been training this whole time. I've been improving. That's the difference. If you're fighting back-to-back camps, there's not much room for improvement because it's all just fitness, trying to get ready and get your eye in. You don't really have the time to break techniques down and really work on small things that make a big difference. So I've been doing a lot of technical sessions these past 2 years, working on my technique, working on fine-tuning everything. And I've also had, promises of multiple fights this past year also, and they've just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. So I've been in little mini fight camps for over a year now. So it's not like I haven't been sparring and training hard. And like you said, my husband's a boxer and he's my coach also. So I'm in my little home gym right now. So even when we were locked down, we still had a gym. I've got a sauna, I've got a treadmill, I've got big MMA mats that we work on, and I don't really follow the rules anyway. So we were sneaking out and going to train anyway. I'm like, fuck you. You can't stop me. You can't stop me from leaving my house. I've been training this whole time. It's just honestly the only frustrating thing has been is not being able to fight. Just gone a little bit stir crazy, not competing, not being on the world stage and doing what I love. That's been probably the hardest part of it all, just not being restricted in doing what I love and obviously making money while I'm at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, in no way, shape, or form am I looking past Britain, because I got to be honest, I am super excited for this fight because, again, I think we're all excited to see you back. But again, when you look at the future, there are a lot of big matchups for you now in BKFC. I mentioned, of course, Christine has the title. Now, when I talked to Dave, he kind of hinted that maybe they're going to have her defend the title in June. He didn't tell me, but I kind of guessed it's probably going to be Taylor Starling. I don't know that for sure. I'm just playing like the estimated guess game here.
Yeah. That makes sense.
We know Paige is going to fight in July. Like for you, and again, I'm not looking past Britain, but for you, is the title, like, is that ultimately the goal, or could you think like, hey, big fights are the goal? Like again, you and Paige is a big fight. You and Rachel could be a big fight. You know what I mean? Like in terms of magnitude, that's not a knock on Christine. I'm not trying to take a knock on her. I'm just saying like we're in that era now where big fights happen that don't necessarily have to have a title on the line.
Yeah, look, like I said before, I just want to fight. I really don't care if it's for the belt or if it's not. Obviously, that is my end goal. I want to be world champion again. I don't feel like I never lost it. No one ever beat me for that belt. So, in my heart, I'm still world champ. But obviously, I've got to go back there and fight Christine for that, or whoever is the title holder when it comes to that chance. But yeah, I'm eyeing off the card in England. I'd love to go there and fight, and I'm not overlooking Britain, but my goal is to knock Britain out and then back it up in July. So I'm definitely pushing. I will be pushing to get on that England card. If it's against Paige, even better.
Oh, I love it. Now if you remember correctly, when we did our last interview, you did not seem all that hyped that Paige was going to do very well in Bare-Knuckle. Now, to her credit,
I called it. She hasn't won yet, so.
But to her credit, she went 0-2, but she's sticking with it. Now, you and I both know there's a lot of people who would do it one time and they'll never do it again. It's not for everybody. You know what I mean? So for her credit, she is doing it. But can I ask what you thought? Like, have you seen her fights, what you thought of Paige's fight so far?
Well, yeah, I remember saying she's also really tough and resilient, and she's shown that. Her fights, she did not back down. She went out there and she showed skill set. She just, honestly, if I can fault her, I think you're seeing it in a lot of MMA fighters that are crossing over. The output's different in boxing than it is MMA. You can sit back, throw one or two shots in MMA and really kind of control a fight, I guess. But the combinations in boxing and the number of punches that need to be thrown in a 2-minute round compared to a 5-minute round are completely different. So I think their approach, like even Pearl Gonzalez, if I was going to fault her fight, is the same thing. Their approach, they're still kind of approaching it like it's an MMA fight, but with only punches. So I think if they were to change anything, they just need to kind of change the way that they're approaching it. It's a 2-minute sprint. You don't have 5 minutes to set things up and work on things. You've got 2 minutes to go out there and, really push the pace. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that I've seen with Paige's fights is she's still kind of MMA minded, I think. But she went out there and showed skill. She showed heart and resilience, and I can't fault her for that. But I don't think she's going to have much for me. I don't really rate many of the girls in Bare-Knuckle, to be honest. I definitely feel like I'm one of the top girls, and I just need to get out there and fight again and show it to everyone again and remind everyone.
You're the champ, Bec. Come on, stop trying to be modest. You're the champ. You never lost the belt. You walked away and did something else. You never lost that belt. You're undefeated. You're the champ. Come on, go ahead and just say it. We know it.
Yeah. I've been saying it, but a lot of people get a little bit butthurt and think I'm just this cocky Australian with a big mouth, but they forget I actually back it up with my fists. But I'm trying to be a little bit humble without just letting everyone know that obviously I never lost the belt. So in my heart, I'm still the champ, but I've got to go out there and remind everyone. That's all. I'm not silly. People have short memories, especially in this sport.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I'm not crazy for thinking like the natural matchup is going to be you and Paige, right? Because I know, from the MMA thing, you'd like to get that rematch. Maybe on paper, it wouldn't make as much sense because, you beat Britain, you're 4-0, you know, it would make sense for you to fight for the title. But I know there's got to be some part of you, like, before she goes away, before she goes and does pro wrestling or whatever else she's going to do, you'd like to get a chance to punch Paige one more time, right?
Absolutely. I've definitely got a bone to pick with her still. Like, she beat me in MMA with a lucky kick, and I would definitely love to beat her in bare-knuckle. It's the fight that makes sense to me for the fans and for my own pride. I would just love to punch her in the face one more time. So, yeah, I'm definitely pushing for that fight.
Yeah. Now you're back in BKFC. You say, you know, you got your fight in May. You're already thinking about maybe fighting in July. Again, I guess the reason I'm asking this question, it sounds like you are fully committed right now to BKFC, and it sounds like you're really loving the boxing, you know, just focusing on the boxing. But is the door open to MMA in the future? You're still very young, so I mean, of course you could go, you know, but again, there's a difference now with BKFC where you can make a career out of it. Like, it's not like you have to go, you know, the money's out there, they're paying people, they're doing bigger shows, all those kind of things. So like, maybe you never do it again, but is the door open to do MMA again?
Look, I'm ready to commit to Bare-Knuckle. If they keep giving me fights back to back, I'm here to stay. So honestly, the ball's in their park. I don't want my contract to expire again. I'm not going to sit here, you know. We I don't know if you use the expression in America, in Australia, I'm not going to sit here with my dick in my hands, you know, waiting for a contract. I need fights. I need my contract. I've got 2 kids that I have to feed. I've now got 2 dogs and 2 cats. You know, there's many mouths to feed in my household. So I can't sit here, you know, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for a contract and waiting for a fight. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back to back. So if Bare-Knuckle are willing to commit to me and book me fights, I'm here to stay.
I love it. I love it. You know, if you remember back when we talked the last time we did the big feature during the pandemic, when we talked about you starting your OnlyFans, and it was, I don't know how it did for you, but it freaking blew up. Like, it went insane when we dropped that article. Everyone lost their minds. Yeah. And you were kind of the original. Can I ask, like, not to rehash what we talked about from that time, but you said what a you know, a help that was to you when you couldn't fight. Like, you could not get fights. That was a huge, you know, huge. Yeah. Now we see it. Everyone's doing it. Paige has got her own thing. Like, everyone's doing. Is it like you were the first Bare-Knuckle? You were kind of the first with that. Like, are you just like the ultimate trendsetter or what? Yeah,
I think so. I think, you know what, I'm not afraid to take risks. I think a lot of people were a little bit scared to kind of jump over to OnlyFans, you know, out of fear of backlash, you know, like, oh, are you doing porn? Are you a porn star? They were kind of scared of that, the stigma that OnlyFans had behind it. And you know, I pride myself on not giving a fuck what other people think. So I take the gamble, and it's paid off. You know, without my OnlyFans right now, not being able to fight in 2 years, I would be homeless. So it's definitely worth, you know, it was worth the risk. It was worth the gamble. And I'm never going to sit back and not do things out of fear of what people think of me, because I've realized people are going to hate regardless. You know, they're going to find a reason to hate if they want to hate. So yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm going to do me and hope that it pays off.
It's so funny because like 15 years ago, if you would have told somebody you were going to be a professional fighter, they would have looked at you like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Why are you so crazy? And like, to me, it's your life, it's your body, it's your choice. Like, who cares? Like, we're so like, I don't know, like, what the word, like, we're so like closeted here in the United States where like anything is like, oh, hush, hush. Dude, go out and do your thing, make your money. Like, I don't ever see a problem with that. I never have, and I never will.
Yeah, I've always said, like, there's always been like this weird obsession over athletes and their boyfriends or their husbands or whatever. Like, oh, who are you dating? Are you with this person? Are you with this person? And I'm like, why do you care what I do with my vagina? Why are you so obsessed what I'm doing with my vagina? Like, I don't get it. So, and it goes on to the same thing. Why do you care what I do for a living? Why do you care if I fight people? Why do you care if I start an OnlyFans? I'm not affecting you. If you don't like it, scroll past. You don't have to look at me. You don't like what I look like, close your fucking eyes. It's your choice.
Yeah. But it's funny though, because in a way, I was saying kind of, you know, with a lab, but in all seriousness, like, you really did start the trend, because now it's like blown up. And I've talked to a lot of fighters, you know, on and off the record, of telling me like how much of a financial, you know, benefit that's been to them, whether they're injured and just out and can't fight, whether they're just not getting the contract they should be getting, whether they get released, maybe they get released from a promotion. Like, It's been a huge. I mean, again, not to bring it back to Paige, but like I talked to Paige, I've made more from it than I ever did in the UFC. Like, again,
it's nuts.
you were the one, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of funny because now I think I'm not saying it's been completely taken away, but it feels like a lot of the stigma has been taken away. Once again, you were the one who kind of did it, took the chance, and now everyone's kind of doing. Like, you're the queen of starting this as well.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
But it is cool though, right? Like to see, like, again, you're willing to take the risk. Now we see a lot of people do. And listen, again, I'm a big fan of make your money. You know what I mean? Make your money. No one's paying your bills for you. I'm not paying your bills for you. So who am I to tell you what you should or shouldn't do? Yeah,
exactly. I don't understand the stigma behind it either, or why people care. It's like, I think it might come from it's almost like when they judge you for being a fighter or whatever, it's because they would never have the balls to do it themselves. And I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from, is because they're actually jealous that you don't care and you're willing to take a risk to get the biscuit, risk it for the biscuit. So, it's cool. It's cool to kind of lead the way there. And it's really nice to have security and control over your own income as well, not having to rely on promoters and fights and kind of get bossed around, if you could use that word. You have the opportunity to put whatever you want out there, make the money however you want. There's no one telling you have to do this or you have to do that. So it's nice to have the control finally, like, the ball in my court, and I'm able to do what I want to do with it and make money doing it. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
This is a weird question to ask, Bec, but I remember like the very first time we ever talked, not that I expect you to remember this, but back in the Invicta days, and I still love Invicta, but again, Invicta is a smaller promotion, let's say, not to knock them, but they're not going to be able to pay what the UFC or other organizations are. To go from that and now where you are now. Now, again, I know during this 2-year layoff, you wanted nothing more than to fight because that is your passion. That's what you want to do. But do you feel like through all of this, whether it was Bellator coming in and signing you, whether it's BKFC coming back and re-signing you, whether it's starting your OnlyFans, do you feel like over these last couple of years, like you've really figured out your worth? Like you figured out what your worth is, in terms of what's your worth in terms of money, right?
Yes, absolutely. And learning to be happy when things are out of your control, not relying, you see all these fighters that don't know when to let it go because that's the only thing that defines them. And I've been put in situations, when I broke my hip in the UFC and I couldn't fight for a year, I had to really find myself and figure out what made me happy because, my whole life was fighting and obviously my kids, but that was a big part of my life, training every day and fighting. So I had to find my own happiness and what defines me. So all these little kind of hiccups along the way have definitely helped me grow as a person and find my worth. And it's just nice to have security to not have to take opportunities that you're kind of forced into. I felt like when I was with the UFC, I had to take these fights. I didn't have the choice to turn these fights down because I was poor. I had no money. Like I wasn't getting paid enough. I had 2 mouths to feed. So if I turned down a fight, I was getting put on the back of the list for 6 months. There was no income for 6 months. So it definitely feels good to not have to be forced into a situation and have the choice. And when you have a choice, the love is there for it, and it just makes it so much better. There's no stress, and I'm happy that I'm doing this. I'm in this sport because I want to be there and I love it, and it makes me happy, not because I need it.
Yeah, I love that. Again, you probably, again, I know money's not everything, but come on. I mean, you got mouths to feed, you got a family, you got to do it. Yeah. And now, it sounds like you're happy. Like, it sounds like you're happy and fighting for you now. Like, of course you're still fighting for money, but you're fighting for you now.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to get punched in the head for free. Don't get that twisted. If I'm going to get punched in the head, I'm going to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. Last thing before I get you out here. Now, I mentioned, of course, that you are the Queen of Bare-Knuckle. That is very apropos to your nickname because you've earned that title. Now, I'm going to throw this out there at you because I'm curious. You have a new last name going into this fight. Have you picked your walkout song for BKFC? I'm going to throw out a suggestion if you don't mind, because there's one I think you should walk out to because you say that I believe you are the uncrowned champ. Do you know the song? And I think a fighter has walked out to it in the UFC. I can't remember who it was, but there's a song by Billie Eilish called You Should See Me in a Crown. Have you heard this song?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
Every time I hear that song,
Okay.
I think about like it needs to be for like a badass woman, and I'm like, you should see me in a crown. You are the uncrowned queen. So I'm just saying, if you need a suggestion, I'm just saying, if you need a suggestion, I'm throwing one out at you.
Yeah. No, I haven't picked my song yet. I've been kind of going in between a few different ones. So I'll have to listen. I'll check that one out and I'll see if it wins.
you should see me in a crown by Billie Eilish. It's got a really cool bass line. Check it out. If you use it, awesome. I want credit. I'm just saying, I want a little credit here. But I feel like it's for the Queen of Bare-Knuckle. I feel like you should see me in a crown. It's kind of perfect, right?
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds fitting. So hopefully I like it. I've only listened to one of her songs, "Bad Guy," and I like that because it's cool.
Yeah,
it's quite catchy,
every time I hear it, I'm like, that would be such a cool walkout song. So I'm just throwing out a suggestion, so take a listen and see what you think.
Bec, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Safe training. I know you're going to be. When are you traveling to the States? Like, how soon are you traveling over here?
I should be leaving on the 8th or the 9th, I think.
Okay.
Maybe the 8th. I haven't got my flights yet. I'm still waiting.
Are you ready? Okay. I know you missed fighting. Are you ready for that plane flight again? Be honest.
Oh, yeah, true. Like, I don't mind because there's a goal at the end of it. I get to punch someone in the face at the end of it. It's like the flight home sucks because it's like the adrenaline dump, and if you're a bit banged up, it kind of sucks on the way home. But the flight there, I'm just excited to get over there and bash someone, so it's fine.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Bec, it's been a long time coming. We cannot wait to see you back in action. Best of luck in the fight. May 13th, BKFC main event, right where you should be. The queen is back. Thank you as always for the time, and I look forward to chatting again soon. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to talk.